Welcome to the Liquidity Event, a show about all things personal finance with a laser focus on taxes, financial independence, and equity compensation. Hosted by AJ and Shane of Brooklyn FI, each episode will focus on a personal finance topic, some driven by news headlines and sometimes driven by listener questions. And sometimes you'll just get two money nerds rambling about what they think is interesting. Just a quick note before we get started, this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered tax or investment advice.
Hello, and welcome to the Liquidity Event. I'm your host, Ali Jane Ayers.
And I'm Shane Mason.
And this is episode 157, being recorded on September 3rd, airing on September 4th. Just a reminder for all of our listeners, you can email us your finance questions at liquidityevent@brooklynfi.com, and we will answer them live on the air. How are you doing on this beautiful Wednesday morning, Mr. Shane Mason, aka Delta Juan Enjoyer, which is your podcast alias this morning?
That was for you. Delta Juan.
Thank you.
There's a restaurant in Austin called One in a Million. And it's one of the best burrito spots on the east side. Hopefully it's still there. We're going to talk about the private equidification of the entire United States of America later. And I don't believe that one in a million would survive the gentrification and
the PE.
private equityification of the United States of America. But that is a topic for later, AJ.
Topic for later. Speaking of which, aside Juan in a Million and PE getting its little nasty claws into every aspect of American business, we are also going to talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey's engagement, obviously, a new AI-powered stethoscope, and how there are now more ETFs than actual individual stocks that make up actual companies. So that's our show for you folks today. Shane, where in the world do I find you?
New York City. I'm no longer in Greenpoint. I'm now in the East Village in a young woman's apartment that
you're aging backwards. I love this for you. You're Benjamin buttoning through the New York City neighborhoods.
I'm Shanejamin Shutning backwards. By the end of this, I'll be a baby at NYU Langone.
Great hospital, by the way. 10 out of 10.
You would
highly
know.
recommend.
You've been to all the hospitals of New York
I would know.
City. Yeah.
Should I have like a hospital influencer blog and just be like,
that would pop.
So today,
of all of your ideas,
it would pop.
Yeah.
Right?
It would be hard for you to find it though in the list of your 8 different Instagram logins. So you got to make sure.
Okay.
I'm surprised you don't cross pollute ever. Like do a golf thing on your soup thing, or do a bathtub thing on your BKFI login. How have you managed to avoid cross pollinating?
I do occasionally send weird memes from the wrong accounts to my friends, of which you are a recipient.
Bathtub memes sent me a Taylor Swift thing.
Send me an SEC.
Okay. How is this relevant to bathtubs?
It's not, but it is relevant to Taylor Swift. And speaking of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey got engaged, and the internet was very excited about that, as was private equity, as was anyone involved in capitalism. Congratulations to the happy couple. And we have this article here that says how Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey's engagement is a lesson in prenups. I know you're not a huge fan of the Taylor Swift music. So what was as a person who's probably sick of hearing about this, what was your take on the financial aspect of this union?
Well, since I had to read this article that was referencing, it was trying to interlate, the writer was a Swiftie. So he kept, I'm guessing it was a lady, was
it's a she. Tommy Sandochumfeten is the article.
Okay, cool.
Author.
Well, they kept dropping names of songs into the article, and they would say, just like, what happens in this song. So me being me, I looked up the lyrics to some of these songs. So I would love to share some of these life-changing lyrics that Taylor has put together. Taylor and dozens of other songwriters. So I knew you were, I can see the panic on your face.
I hate this so much. I don't like this. I don't like when you do this.
I will just do one. I have, which one do you want? I Knew You Were in Trouble, Bad Blood, or Shake It Off? Which one do you think has the...
There's a mix. You have a mix of 1989 and Red. That was her crossover from country into pop. So you're reading pop song lyrics. That doesn't count.
Okay, well, the next episode, you feed me because
Okay.
I knew you were in trouble when you walked in. So shame on me now.
How about
Blew me places I'd never been. Hell yeah.
How about
Till
this?
you put me down.
All
Let's
of my
go.
pages were mental, so I got wasted like all my potential. Boom.
That's pretty good,
Boom.
actually.
Yeah, it's fucking good. Okay, anyway.
All right.
All right, we're talking about prenups here, though.
Regular Bob Dylan on our hands here. Waiting on the... Waiting on... Sweden's calling. You have to accept your literature award, Miss Swift. One of these was co-written by Kendrick Lamar. Bad Blood, Kendrick Lamar has writer credit on that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's got a whole section, and if you knew, it wasn't originally on the album, but then it was in the video, and then when they re-released '89 with Taylor's version, he agreed to re-record his rap because he was so gracious.
Oh, there's a rap on the song?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So he's not just contributing to Taylor, he's like actually on the song.
He is featured. He's a featured artist and wrote a rap.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
section.
That's cool. All right. Anyway, back to prenups. I think that
anyway,
it's very
yeah, a lot of fluffy shit in here. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's like some silly stuff in the article, like all of the song lyrics or whatever, but they do kind of nail down some of the most important things about prenuptial agreements, like making sure that everybody has an independent counsel when they're writing the agreement. That way, there's a third party or it's an arm's length transaction. Once it is completed, anytime that anyone listening to this, you may be tempted to use the same lawyer as another party in a contract or an agreement that you're dealing with, just because, hey, we're all friends, it's all familiar. But unfortunately, the way that lawyers work or the way that independent counsel works is that you really need to have your own, because a lawyer can't represent two people. They do it, and they have done it, and they sometimes will even let it go because in the nature of just getting things done, let's just get this small contract signed. But obviously this is not going to be a small contract for a billionaire and a measly 40 millionaire that is Travis Kelsey.
Yeah, my take here was that I think he is younger than you. Yeah, I don't think he's not 40 yet, either of you. But my take here is that as soon as the engagement was announced, then he started sort of dropping these kind of like lame corporate sponsorships. There was like an American Eagle ad and like some drink ad. And I was like, oh, this is evidence that they did sign a airtight prenup, because he's like, okay, baby's not going to share her billions with me, so I have to have my own money. And I respect that. And I like that. So that was my take. It's like, there is a prenup here, obviously, and he's taking it seriously. And they are both generating their own income within their marriage. And they're, I'm sure, going to share lots of homes and private jets and travel expenses and whatnot. But they both, have their own careers and are able to generate their own incomes, which I love for any partnership of any kind.
Yeah, I mean, just circling back to like what would make you happy. I don't think after the first 100.
Are we circling back to that?
Oh yeah, we never were there in the beginning. Sorry.
Circling back. What?
This was 6 episodes ago, AJ. Please keep up.
Oh, okay.
This is episode 151.
Sorry. I think I was out. Yeah.
No, thank you for that. I think we're always circling back, though, on this podcast to like what would make you happy or how to live a fulfilling life. And your first 40 million should do it for you. I don't really think that you need Taylor's an extra $500 million to make you truly happy. I think at that level of wealth, the only thing that can do to you is really just drive you crazy and drive you nuts and ruin your life, frankly. So I love the prenup. I love him just being like, if I was him, I'd be like, hell yeah, I don't need any of your money from before we were married. Like, hold on to that, sister. Like, you're already going to make my life incredible.
A prenup is so misunderstood. Like, a prenup is not like, oh, we're going to get divorced, this is about money. A prenup is like, hey, if at a certain point this doesn't work out, as statistics tell us there's a higher than 50% chance that it won't, let's make sure it's not horrible and life-ruining for everyone. And we have a document that just says, okay, this doesn't work out, this is what happens. And we can save ourselves hundreds of millions of dollars in lawyer fees, because this would be a pretty expensive divorce if there was no prenup. It's kind of like a love letter, and it's like a sign of maturity that you trust each other in your relationship enough to say, we love each other and we don't want to ruin each other's lives if this goes south. I mean, divorce is messy. Divorce is expensive. Usually both spouses end up poorer than they were in the marriage. So a prenup is the first step in kind of ensuring that if the union doesn't work out exactly how everyone wanted, both spouses can exit with dignity and hopefully some cash to continue their lives. That's why I'm a huge fan of prenups.
Yeah.
Myself.
No. To circle back to what you mentioned about both people being poorer on the other side of this, why? How could that be the case? Like, if you just split everything down the middle and gave half of it to your spouse, and you kept half of it and just moved on, well, that can't happen. And this is part of the reason why I'm a little bit anti real estate. I have a friend that's got like 6-7 houses that's going through a divorce, and none of it is liquid. So you get attached to all of these. Like, you can't just split a house, right? And then all the houses don't have a easily discernible marketable value. So whereas if you had a taxable brokerage account with $3 million in it, 1.5 on our way. But you've got the cabin upstate, or you've got the San Francisco condo that you raised your 2 kids in for a while, and there's all this nostalgia and emotional energy tied up into these properties. It's really messy. And then the other way that you end up less off is that dollars go to the lawyers. Of course, the lawyers get involved. So I would almost like I see a rebrand of the prenup to be an anti-lawyer agreement.
Yeah,
just totally. How do we keep the lawyers out of our divorce should that ever happen, because they're so damn expensive, and they deserve it. But if you don't have a prenup, and by the way, we really need to, if we're going to keep talking about prenups, next episode we should cover the David Geffen divorce, where there was no prenup, and he's worth like $10 billion. So we got to cover that one.
Yes, totally agree. I also think I've been writing about this a lot, about how, people are always like, what is financial planning? Like, I don't need a financial planner. I can do this on my own. And like, financial plan, like a good financial plan is basically admitting to yourself that life is hard and like you are not smarter than everybody, and shit will get thrown in your face. You will lose your job. You will have people in your family get sick. Like, things will happen. And a financial plan, if it's done well and you've checked a lot of boxes and you have documents in place and you have enough cash in the right accounts and the right investments and enough diversification, your life will not get ruined by hardships. They will be blips. They will be little things that you will ride out. They may be sad, but you will get through them. And that's what, I just keep coming back to this idea that like, yes, we need a prenup, because if we get divorced, which is very painful and terrible, it makes it a 1 to 2 year event that sucks and is a little sad. And at the end of the day, you have 2 people who can probably go meet someone else and have a really great second half of their life. Where this is a little personal for me. My parents were getting divorced for 11 years. 11 years they were fighting each other in court. And it was very painful for everyone. And it could have been avoided with a prenuptial agreement, frankly. And there were houses, there were young kids. It was messy. And it really derailed both of my parents' lives for a long time. So it made me very cautious about, how one enters into a financial partnership. So that's my little Queen. TMI there for you.
Go off, Queen. I'm there with you.
Speaking of me going off, we've got an AI stethoscope that could detect heart conditions in seconds.
Didn't know where that was going. Okay.
I'm excited about it.
Okay. It's better.
Shout out to Ed, one of our financial planners here at Brooklynify, for sharing this article. Very exciting. British researchers have basically created this little device. It's like the size of a playing card, that mimics an EGC, which is an echocardiogram, and can detect potential irregular heartbeats in people. Now, as someone with a heart condition and a very irregular heartbeat, this is very exciting news to me, because I have one of these heart conditions that often goes undetected in folks. And it often, if you guys hear those stories of super healthy, in shape football player dropping dead, in the middle of the game because his heart stopped, it's usually because he has one of these undetected heart conditions. And an echocardiogram, it's not an invasive procedure. They just put a bunch of wires on you, but you got to go into the doctor's office. Like, they're not done as like preventative care. So now we have this little playing card, and we could be like, boop, 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 go off, Queen. Your heart's irregular. That's my take. What's yours?
I'm sorry. I just imagine Travis Kelsey dying on the field because she just wrote the most cutting lyrics of her entire fucking life. You said football player. I think we had football players in the mind. But no, I love this. I love this for you. I love this for us. Whatever keeps you alive. I think that, diagnosing is a skill. It's part of the, medical space. It's not the only thing that doctors do, but diagnosing is obviously a big part of doctoring, and it requires, the two main things I believe that go into diagnosis is consistency and volume, right? So you're constantly doing it, and you're seeing what's working and what isn't, and then you just need a very high volume. And I think that it's a perfect thing for a computer to do. So you can just push. In the article, it mentions that these AI, the word AI is kind of like a joke, but like big data analysis and artificial intelligence analysis of these tens of thousands of readings that go live in the cloud, right? Like every doctor uses their stethoscope across the country. Even just one day of that is probably more diagnostic data for the cloud to analyze than a doctor would see in their entire lives, right? Because there's tens of thousands of doctors doing all these analysis. So that's awesome that they get to aggregate all that and get to better results. I do fear, we talk about AI taking jobs. There's huge job. Like it would be suck so bad to be a radiologist right now, to have spent so much time figuring out how to interpret x-rays and other types of scans. And then AI just comes in and is like, oh yeah, that's cancer. Like within a quarter of a second. Like that would be devastating. But the other thing that this article got me wondering about is if a simple stethoscope can get a little brain attached to it, what other types of diagnostic tools
Yeah.
might have little brains attached to them? And the only thing I could really come up with as I was, preparing for the podcast earlier, is sipping some coffee in a coffee shop, but just like a home inspector, just like tapping on wood or looking at the foundation of houses and just trying to figure out if there's
Like termites?
or if there's structural issues or electrical issues or just really anything that could really speed up. I mean, I don't know. The house inspection costs what, $500 in the middle of America,
Yeah, if that.
and it
Yeah.
costs a couple hours. So, I mean, I guess the same thing with a diagnostic check, but it just got me thinking
Yeah.
about anything that is a quick but kind of quick and expensive and requires a specialist to diagnose something. So
Yeah, I mean, to me, this made me think of the Elizabeth Holmes, the blood machine
Sure.
that could analyze a drop of your blood
you're always
very
thinking about
quickly. And
Elizabeth
like,
Holmes.
I'm always thinking, I truly am always thinking about Elizabeth Holmes. Also, Elizabeth Holmes had an amazing tweet the other day where
From prison?
I think so. Maybe it was fake. I don't know. Who knows these days? But I loved it. It was Brian, the guy who's trying to like get younger, the tech billionaire.
Yeah. Brian Thompson?
Like he posted like,
Or-
he's like, here's my Labor Day feast, and it was just like smoothies and like gross shit, and and I think it was Elizabeth Holmes. Her response was like, as someone who lived on like Soylent for 10 years and now eats tuna from the prison canteen, have a steak. It's like amazing.
Cool.
So yes, I agree. Like her, I mean, I'm still long on Elizabeth Holmes' blood machine. Like, let's do it. I mean, I've had my blood taken. I have had so much blood taken this year, Shane, that I'm surprised I'm walking around.
Where does it all go? To
The FDA, actually, which is a whole other story for another time. But okay, here's my question. And you kind of alluded to this, and I think we had the same thought, which is like, they're calling this an AI stethoscope. Now,
Sure.
is it artificial intelligence, or is it just a lot of data that is getting compared to something else? Like, that's what they're saying. They're saying, okay, I'm going to take the reading from this little machine and it's going to go into the cloud, and then AI is going to analyze it. It's like, is it AI? Is that artificial intelligence? Or is that just saying, here's the 10,000 readings that we have, let's compare it. Does the line match? Oop, yep, it's an outlier. Like, that's not AI as far as I understand it. That is scientific method that we have had for, I don't know, a couple hundred years already. So let's be careful with the word AI, folks. I know we need to use it to get investment from private equity, which we'll get to in a second. But for the most part, let's just like be very clear when we're talking about intelligence that hasn't existed until we had these large language models. Like, we have had this technology for a long time.
Not to split hairs here, but the stethoscope doesn't have AI. It's got Wi-Fi. It sends the data.
No, it doesn't even have that.
The data
it's not even Wi-Fi. It's
center.
magnetism. It's literally.
Yeah, it's not an AI stethoscope. It's a stethoscope that can speak to the cloud, which is just a Wi-Fi connection.
I mean, the device I have in my once a quarter, someone in Boston in a lab sends a ping to my little heart device. And then they're like, thumbs up, it's working. Which that technology has existed for 30 years. That's not AI. Anyway.
Your devices and your device medical stories always scare the shit out of me.
It's all good. The dirtier, the better. Did you see my hat?
No, my Wi-Fi is being goofy and everything's blurry.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, my hat says the dirtier, the better. And it's a picture of a fingernailed woman holding a martini glass.
Oh, yeah. Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent hat.
One of our
I feel like a
excellent
blind
clients,
man
actually.
right now. Like, describe it to me.
Tell me.
I wish I could.
Well, it's a red hat.
Describe it to me.
Describe it to me. Okay, speaking of describe it to me, we have private equity ramps up their PR branding efforts to try to disrupt the 401k and retirement plan space. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh man, I was just thinking last week about how inefficient 401ks are and how we really need private equity injection. Just a ton of MBAs just really getting involved in Americans' retirement. Because when I think of a Kentucky coal miner that has finally been able to save up, let's say 400,000, he's got his private residence, maybe 200,000, and then he's got 400K in his 401k. I think we need an MBA straight out of Wharton to come in there and offer him the opportunity to invest in private equity. You know what I'm saying? We need to get him in Stripe before they go public if he's really going to be able to retire. Because without this option, we just really don't have a full buffet at the table for these people. You know what I mean, AJ? They need this.
Yes. You're being facetious.
I'm being exceptionally facetious. This is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. And I just want to quote it's a challenging process for an established alternatives firm to change its orientation from an institutional audience to a retail audience and to rebuild its external messaging to be more personal, more holistic, says the CEO of a financial communications firm, Edelman Smithfield. Yeah, no shit. Nobody knows who you guys are, and nobody needs to know who you are. You can talk to all of these other people with MBAs about flipping giant private companies or taking Home Depot private, but we do not need retail investors to pass over the broccoli that is the ETF, the VOO, and grab a Monster Energy drink that has now been put on their 401k menu of options.
Yeah, it's terrible. Right. But it makes sense. I mean, I just looked it up. As of September 2024, so this is a year out of date, and we've seen incredible market growth. So this number is probably a lot more. There was $8.9 trillion in 401k assets. So yeah, if you're a Wharton MBA and you just graduated and someone's like, let's solve big problems. And you're like, ChatGPT, tell me where the most money is. It's like, 401ks. Retirees have almost $10 trillion in 401k assets. That's the market that we can go after. If we can capture even 2% of that market, I'm going to start a fund and I'm going to do it. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like this is, I mean, every era has its version of taking a good idea and taking it too far. I think this is maybe private equity going into things that shouldn't be meddled with because this is people's livelihood, right? But before our financial crisis in 2007, 2008 was mortgages and homes, which people rely on to live in. And these are retirement accounts, which have been contributed to over lifetimes and are life rafts for someone who, has worked pretty hard their whole life and is looking forward to this light at the end of the tunnel where they can uncouple from their day job and, go on cruises or spend time with their grandkids or whatever people do when they retire.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. After 35 years of being a high school English teacher, you now have a 401k that offers you, $4,000 a month. Fantastic. Oh, I'm sorry. 25% of that was lost when we tried to take Strike Public, and it went from $100 to $25 because AI has now revolutionized fintech. I'm so sorry. Like, why? It's just totally. What is the upside of offering these options when you can just invest in the entirety? This is just a reflection of.
Here's why. This is why. Here's the answer. My dad came to me the other day and he's like, I want to invest in private real estate. My buddy has this really thing. How can I do that in my pension and my 401k? I'm like, because you can't. Please take your hands off the steering wheel. Like, give me the keys, please. Because people get bored, right? When you have spent your whole life working and feeling needed and having purpose and going to a job and raising children or doing it, whatever it is that you do, and then you stop working and your brain is still functioning, you get bored. And what do you try to do? You try to fill your time with something that has meaning. So this is typically we see as a male thing that happens. You have the person who's retired. They've got $1 million in their 401k. They all of a sudden have nothing to do other than play golf and cards and, go to dinner at 5 p.m. and eat lobster at the retirement home or wherever they are. Sorry, I think I aged him too quickly. Let's call him he's 60. Like, he's bored.
Your dad?
He's going to look for opportunities to increase his $1 million when he does not have to. That's the crazy thing, because we have this beautiful thing called the US economy and compound interest that just do it for you in the background for very little money. And this idea that you have to tinker with it, that you have to take it apart and rebuild it, and that you picked the right stock and you picked the right ETF, like, I'm so sick of this, Shane. I'm so sick of hearing these stories of what could have been a nice, easy, chill retirement with hobbies and travel turned into, oops, I lost all my money on a crypto scam or a PE nonsense. A lot of soapboxes today.
No, I hear you. Yeah. Well, I forgot. Circling back to something.
To happiness?
Kinda. This just reminded me of the Blaise Pascal quote that all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone, which is truly like, we do have an inability to do that. I don't know what it is. We have our default to action thing that always gets triggered. And now we have to introduce private equity into 401ks. This is a bad idea, and it's unnecessary. And the Trump administration has allowed this unfortunate turn of events. If you're wondering why everything is getting more expensive and also shittier at the same time, it's because private equity has gotten involved in that industry and has wrung out all of the value, because that is their entire purpose in life.
Take something interesting that is working, right? Little businesses that are doing well-ish when they see an opportunity to turn a well-ish business with a 20% margin into a cash cow that they can take public with a 60% margin, that business will likely get worse and more expensive. So I think the example that I see cited the most is Blank Street Coffee. Are you familiar with Blank Street Coffee?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
New York brand.
So Blank Street Coffee was like New York brand, like kind of cool, your neighborhood coffee shop. Private equity got involved and now they're everywhere and they're worse than Starbucks. The coffee is disgusting. The environment is so stale and they're in all these like cute little neighborhoods all over Brooklyn and it sucks and everyone's mad about it. So I hope they fail. Anyway.
Just one last thing here is like, there's a quote about, half of the article is about them getting involved, which has already happened, and now I think the regulation has been passed to allow for that. The other half is about the rebranding effort to actually drive appetite for their products. So there's a quote here that says, "One major unknown complicates these rebranding efforts. There is very little polling on how ordinary Americans view private equity, and people in the industry often disagree on whether the prevailing view is positive, neutral, or negative." And considering that half of Americans read at a sixth grade reading level, I doubt that any of them could even define what private equity even is. Like, walk around, do a man on the street and be like, what is private equity? You will definitely not get many correct answers to that. But let it be known that you will pretty soon be seeing Apollo Global Management and Blue Owl are buying up, they've got all these big PR teams, and now they're doing sports partnerships, and we're going to probably be seeing this year's Super Bowl ads will feature some private equity slots. So America keeps getting better every year.
Okay, we've got time for what? Let's do a quick listener question.
Okay.
This comes from Reddit. Decisions about real estate sale with a $600,000 tax bill. If I sell a property, I will have a $600,000 tax bill. Initial instinct is to 1031 to a different property to defer the tax, but I'm asking myself if that is the right choice for my die with zero easy life goal. Ooh, I like this. This person's thought a lot about this. Or if I should just pay the tax, keep life simpler, and diversify. We are already in our 60s and retired. Goes on to say that He's got a bunch of more rental properties, but basically he's saying like, all right, I've done well on this property. It's got a really nice gain. The tax bill is $600,000. Should he try to defer the taxes by doing what's called a 1031 exchange, where you basically buy a similar property and you defer the taxes, you kick the tax can down the road? Or should he just sell it, pay the government, be on his way? Sounds like he's already living a nice life. What's your take here?
I mean, my initial take is simplicity is very valuable, and that's why your iPhone lives on rails and costs twice as much as a Windows phone, right? Or whatever the hell, or Android phone, because of the curation. And this person has an opportunity to curate their own life, and that they don't have to deal with this real estate. I mean, they're in their 60s. This thing's going to have a $600,000 tax bill. I'm assuming they're not working. So thinking about what tax bracket they're in, that means that to reverse engineer this, they're probably paying 24% tax on that. So it's probably worth 4 times the bill. So it's probably worth $2.5 million.
Right.
So they're going to keep 1.8 million after the sale. 1.8 million reverse engineers to about $50,000 a year forever in income if you engineer it. So dealing with this shit is probably going to cost you $50,000 a year on an ongoing basis, whereas you could have that as income if you sell it, pay the tax, and move on with your life. This is my initial thought. What are you thinking?
Yep. Agree. Yeah, I think of it as, would you rather, 1.8, even if it's 1.5, like, would you rather have that today to spend? You're 60 years old already, right? Life expectancy, maybe we've got 20 years, maybe 30 years left. Like, I would rather have that and optimize my life and make sure that I'm healthy and able to enjoy it, rather than dealing with a management company I'm going to pay a lawyer to do a 1031 exchange. I'm going to have to, look at all these properties, decide, ask my advisor which one is going to cash flow best, and like be a landlord for the next 20 years. Mm-hmm. No, thank you. I'd rather be the captain of my sailboat than a landlord, personally.
Yeah, right.
That's
on.
just me.
Yeah.
But going back to circling back to this happiness thing.
Circling back.
This is circling back. This is another example of like, I'm bored, right? Like, what do you do? Oh, I'm retired. What do you do? Oh, I'm a landlord. I run a rental property business. Look at this deal I just got. I did this 1031 exchange, yada, yada, yada. It gives you something to talk about to the people that you meet, to sound interesting. You want to sound interesting? Read a book, please. You want to sound interesting? Read 10 books a week. Sit by the pool and read books and talk about them. Join 10 book clubs. Then you will have lots of really interesting things to talk about, and you'll have $1.8 million.
With you on that. I'm with you on that. Or just say you're a writer. And most writers don't put anything out anyway. So just work on your master tomb and then just die unfinished. Yes. The Great American Novel.
Yeah, and then leave it in your estate plan to your kids, split exactly evenly, and let them fight about it.
Yeah. Or just be like an old Italian man and just walk up to construction sites with your arms behind your back and just watch. That would be more interesting than this. One last thing I want to note here. I looked into the answers, other people's answers, and OP, the original poster, says, somebody asked how much you would get after tax. It's like 2.1 million after tax. Why does that matter? Are you looking at as a percentage more than a fixed dollar amount? He's like, well, the other person's like, yeah, I mean, you can invest that 2.1 million. And the guy's like, no. I haven't been in the markets in decades. All I know is real estate. So, yeah, this is a nightmare.
It's a lost cause.
Yeah,
nightmare.
That's not a good deal. If retiring on real estate alone, part-time jobs, probably not going to hire an advisor, getting questions answered on Reddit. This person's DIYing it. It's going to be rocky.
It's going to be rocky, like the hurricane that's going to come in and destroy the property, and then you're going to be fighting with insurance in your 80s as opposed to sitting on the beach. So enjoy.
Yeah.
Woo.
Cool. Sorry.
For the record, like I feel like on this podcast we talk a lot about like we dislike real estate. We dislike only real estate. Mm-hmm. That's the issue. Like, you and I both own real estate. I love owning real estate. I love this house. I love enjoying it. It might make me some money in the future. That'd be nice. But real estate has to be part of something else. You have to have other assets. And you cannot just talk about how awesome real estate is all the time, because if you do, I will not be your friend. So that's just an important social thing to remember, that if your entire personality is real estate, you are not an interesting person, no matter what you think. So that's where we're going to end today.
Let's end it there. I love that.
Thank you for listening to the Liquidity Event. You can email us your problems and tell us how great real estate is at liquidityevent@brooklynfi.com. And finally, Stans can leave us a review if they want to be weird about it. Thank you for joining me today. Shane, I will see you not next week because we're at a conference, but the week after.
Week after that.
Goodbye.
Bye.